What's up, everyone? Steven here with TechMaker.tv. This is building a decentralized chat with Node JS and aleph.im, part 14. So in the last episodes, I think the last one or two episodes, we've worked on getting these channels hooked up so that you can actually create channels and you can chat to these channels. So it's a little delayed, obviously, because we're pushing data to the network and then waiting on it to come back via WebSockets and so on. But the problem right now is nobody else can join this channel. So we can create them and post messages, but it's just us talking to ourselves. So in this episode, we're going to go ahead and get the ability hooked up to join a channel. Now, what we're going to do here is sort of a first pass at this. It's not going to be the way it will ultimately need to be if we were to launch a real app with it, because it's sort of impractical, but it will at least get us started and help us complete the model. And again, we're kind of just putting a basic user interface together here. I'm not trying to actually design anything yet. I'm just trying to get the different pages set up and working. And we'll come back on another, potentially in another series, and make a really nice UI for it. So for this episode, what I want to do is define a new route, basically, which is just channels. And when you go to channels, what I want it to be is basically a list of all the available channels, and each one has a join button. And when you click that join button, it should like add you to that channel and then like redirect you back to it so that you can chat. So let's have a look at how to get that going. And what we're going to want to do is actually create a new account. There's going to be some logic that I'm going to leave out here. So for example, if you're the owner of a channel, if you're already in a channel, it shouldn't show up. I'm not really worried about all of that in this episode. We may cover that in one of the next ones. What I want to happen here is just to get the architecture kind of filled out. So first of all, what we need to do is set up a path. And what we can do is, let's see, what I want to do is, first of all, at some point I need to break all these out into different files. But I'm going to say channels, just get channels. We want to connect, ensure, logged in, same deal. And then instead of the new file, I'm going to render an index, which doesn't exist yet. And then what I'm going to do is copy this so that we have this kind of boilerplate stuff here. Okay, and then I want to basically call out and just get all of the channels. So you can see here that when we create a channel, it's in this sort of channels, I think it's called the type. And as I said before, we're treating that like it's the database name. So what I'm going to do is let channels, I'm going to copy this. We're going to need to, let me actually just copy all of this, and then we're going to modify it as has been the typical way we do things in this series so far. Okay, so I'm going to paste that, and basically what I need to do first of all is up here I need to declare this as async, and then down here I don't actually want any refs. I just want all of the channels. And again, we won't actually do that in like a whoa, sorry, I hit the wrong button. We wouldn't do that in a production app, but we're going to do it here for simplicity. And specifically what I mean by that is if we were to do what we're going to do here and just have all of the channels listed, well, anybody in the world can create a channel and put it in the Aleph system. And any user of our app could as well through our interface. And so therefore, like, you could have an infinitely long list, and we're just pulling all those things back. And Aleph does some smart things like paginate it. But it wouldn't be a great user experience, and I don't know how you would handle that. So anyway, for now it's okay because we're only going to have like a few channels and nobody's really using this. But ultimately that's not what we're going to want. So basically we're just going to pull back all of the channels, just like that. And then we're going to render them here. And I think that's all we're going to want to do is just the channels like that. And actually, instead of index here, I'm just going to say channels index like that. And if we save this, that should be basically what we need to do here. And then inside of my channels directory over here, I'm going to create a new file called index.ejs. And in here, I'm just going to write the word test. And then we're going to go back and it's going to force us to log in. And I'm going to do the same Samantha user that we've been doing. And then if we come over here to the URL bar and type channels, we should have test printed out there. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to hook up this page. And I'm going to go over here to new and copy all of it because I still need all this boilerplate stuff, and just paste that in here. And inside of container, what I'm basically going to do is just kind of remove everything else. And then I'm going to say, let me look really quick how we do this normally in our loop here. So we have, just as a reminder, so we have post, for each, post. Actually, let's copy all of this and then let's change it up. So we don't have posts, we have channels. And we're going to do a for each, do channel. And inside of here, we're not going to have any parsed things, I don't think. The only thing we're going to care about is the channel item hash. So basically what I'm going to do is something like div class equals, how can we do this? We could do card. No, let me think. What do I want this to look like? Why don't we do this? Why don't we say div, and we'll say class equals row. And then inside of here, we'll say div class equals col. I'm just thinking col, like, so let's say 6 offset 2. And then we'll put the channel name. In actual fact, I do need to parse that content. So we'll say parsed item equals, is it json.parse? Is that what it is? json.parse post item content. So we'll say json.parse channel item content. And then inside of here, I'm going to say parsed item. Parse item.name, I think. Parse item.content. It might be .content.body, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. Let's try that. Let's refresh and see what this does. Okay, nice. So basically we have all of our titles listed out there. So what we could do is up here we could say something like h3 and say join a channel, and we'll say class equals mt5 just to kind of knock it down a bit. Inside of here in this row, what I'm going to do is say div, and then I'm going to give it a, actually let me put this outside the row. I think we'll see. Div class equals card, like that, and then div, and then class equals card body. What is going on here? Card body. Okay, cool. Then let's toss this all up there and see what this looks like. Okay, nice. And then what I'm going to do inside of here, I mean, this is not fancy at all, but just trying to make it look halfway decent. MB3 on that. Okay. And I'm starting to think I want to put that row on the outside like that. And let's see. No, never mind. What I would like to do though is actually not have the offset somewhere, wherever that is, because that's looking weird. We'll just make that an 8. And it's all the way across. So that's huge, and I don't really care for it. But again, like, this isn't a design course here. So what I'm going to do is just say div class equals col4. And inside of there, what I'm going to do is put a an A tag. And what I'm going to do is say, let me think for a sec. So technically, we could do this with a GET request, which I think is fine. You can argue that you should use a POST request for this, but let's say we do channels, and then maybe we put in the, what would it be, the channel dot item hash, like that, and then slash join, and then say join, and then I'm going to give it a class of btn primary, and let's see what that links to. So okay, so I don't have an item hash down there. Channel item has, that should be hash. Let's refresh, try that again. Okay, so now if I click this, let's see what we get up here. So now we have the channels there, we have the item hash here, and we have join there. So that's basically what I wanted to do. This doesn't look great at all. I'll fix that later. It's not important right now. I just wanted to essentially get it hooked up. So now what do? We need to set up a new route to handle this join action. Okay, cool. So to do that, let's go back over here, and we're going to do a app.get. And how do we do this? So we should do /channels/ I guess we can just do item hash /join, and then we're going to do our connect ensure login dot ensure logged in, like so. And then we'll do let's just see here. I think we should do async, and then the same request response. Open up this new function here. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and just copy all this boilerplate stuff. Okay, now what do we need to do? Well, we've already got this kind of done. If we look at our, where is it? It's going to be in channels, the post. Yeah, right here, right where I was. So basically, you can see what we're going to need to do right here. So we're going to need to do await this, and the channel is TechMaker chat. You know what? I've got channel test around everywhere, and I don't know that that makes a big difference or not. We'll work on that later. It seems like that doesn't matter right now, so I'm probably going to fix it before we jump off of here, or maybe even offline. But whatever, I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So basically what I want to do is, first thing I need to do is get the account. I think, what is the account here? Let's see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So what I'm going to do, actually, I can just write this like this. And, you know, I've kind of got a little inconsistency going on here, but just to make it a little easier as far as copying and pasting goes, I'm just going to paste that like that. Come down here, close this off, and then tab this in. Okay, so let's look at what we've got here. So we've got, sorry, I hit the wrong button. It's been a freaking habit lately. Okay, so we're importing the account, and then we're saying submit a new post with this account, and then I don't need this to be response.item hash. I need to pull that out of the params, and that's going to be request.params.item hash, right? So what I'm going to do is say request.params.item hash, like that. Okay, so what I can do is say await this thing. So how should I go about this? I don't think I really need to capture the response at all. So I'm just going to wait for that to be done, and then I'm going to redirect. So I'm going to say, I think it's response.redirect. No, it's request. No, it's response. Dot redirect. And then I'm going to go to /rooms/ and let me add a backtick here instead of that. And interpolate my request.params.item hash like that. Okay, so the idea here is basically you click this thing and then it adds you to that channel and then it redirects you to the channel. All right, so let's try this, but I want to actually create a new account. So I have /register here. So I'm going to open a new incognito window and I'm going to go localhost 4567/register. And here I'm going to put, let's just do like jsmith123 and enter a password here. And hopefully everything's working fine. Okay, so now if I go to /channels, let's see if this actually works. So let's join the TechMaker channel. Okay, and looks like we're in. You can see we have ASDF coming from somebody else. So over here, let's go ahead and log back in as Samantha and see if our chat is working. Okay, Samantha. Okay, let's go over here to TechMaker. And you can see that I said ASDF and then say, hey, J Smith. And then I can come over here and say, hi, Samantha. And let's see if this works. Cool. So our chat is functional at this point. So we can create channels, we can join channels, and we can chat within those channels. So this is sort of the rudimentary basics. There's a lot of UI improvements that could be made, obviously. I think that one of the things I'm starting to have questions about is how to properly do data validations, because there's no way for us to do, as far as I understand it, there's no way to create a data validation on Aleph where we can prevent the saving of data before we add it, which creates a unique sort of problem, because typically what you want to do if you have a database is you want to prevent bad data from getting into the database in the first place. So you add these data validations, you add database constraints, whether you're using Postgres or whatever, so you can prevent certain fields from being nil. But we can't do that here because basically anybody can add any data they want to this Aleph thing and it's decentralized. So if you don't have good filtering, that becomes a problem. So sort of the responsibility flips around a little bit. So you put it upon the application to actually filter out bad data as opposed to prevent bad data from getting saved in the first place, because there's really nothing you can do about it as far as I know. So that's a question I'm kind of working on. And I think, this is very, basic right now on the front end, but we're going to get into some of those questions pretty quickly. I think the next things I want to do are probably some UI cleanup a little bit, maybe work on some validation stuff. I'm not 100% sure. And then I want to figure out how to set up private channels. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. If you got any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Otherwise, I'd love it if you hit the bell button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. It helps the channel out a lot. And I'll talk to you in the next episode.